gone live. It's been a little bit. Welcome to the stream. For those who have not tuned in before, or who have gone back to revisit and see the live or the past broadcasts, welcome. And of course, those who are live. So this will be a little interesting because I've never done like a finance crypto stock thing. So yeah, we're just kind of chit chatting for now. Typically, we stream Pokemon and WoW, though that has been a little bit lax lately. But we'll see as things continue where they go. So if you have questions, put them in, throw them. I'll be happy to answer. I'm not the most knowledgeable, that's for sure, nor am I a financial advisor. So take what I say it's a grain of salt, but I will do my best. Let me just make sure. Make some money? Yes, Santos, let's make some money. It's doing good today so far. So we'll go over kind of, I know you had some questions as far as the mining stuff, so we'll go over that in a little bit, or towards the end, as far as like if people want to set up a mining, what that entails, what that means, and how easy it can be done. We're going to kind of go over a few of the things that I use as far as gathering information and knowing when to step into either a certain stock or not necessarily stock. I mean, we'll go over cryptos mostly, and crypto is one that I find is more of my home. That's what I better understand. So that's why I like with normal stocks, it's that there's not too much information that I have there. I'm still learning and growing. I will put in chat actually some books to get. These are really good books. I've got them right here. This one is by, and I'll put this in the Discord as well. There's that one. There's that one. So this one here, the first one is Trading in the Zone. You can see. Of course, you can digitize it, whatever. I like books, personally, like actually holding them. So I've got this one. Then you've got Pitbull right here. I've not personally read that one yet, but this is one that has been recommended. Then Technical Analysis. That's another really good book to get. And then Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. That's also a really good one. I'll put both of those in here. Like I said, we're going with this. This is by no means a professional scene. All right, I'll just put the last two books in there. I'm not even putting the authors in. I'll put that in the Discord. So yeah, so those books are very helpful, and they kind of go over, like Trading in the Zone I would definitely read first, because that goes over disciplining yourself to think differently, because a lot of the times, oh look, Xantos with the subscribing, thank you, I appreciate it, with Prime, good old Amazon Prime. Ooh, I definitely spell analysis wrong. There you go. I'm being a little too loud. I'll try to be a little bit quieter. Son's trying to sleep. Let's move the mic here. That's my bad. 3-month-old. That's what you get. Okay, so let's go over. I mean, let's pull up, actually, let's pull this up here. going to pull up a window capture. And say that's what this is. Oops. We're not pulling that up. We're going to pull that up. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it right there. Okay. Refresh this just a little bit here. All right. So the biggest thing that you can see as I am starting to move my boxes all around, that is kind of annoying. Here. We'll fix this. Told you this is definitely not professional. Let's close this. Let's redo it. Oops, not weather. Okay, it's loaded back up. Oops. Spam, spam. Okay, it's not on the screen. There we go. So this platform is Webull. I know Xantos, you use Robinhood. I also use Robinhood. But anyone else out there that is kind of looking Robinhood and some of the other newer stock apps they're kind of dumbed down, if that makes sense. They're very easy to use, so they don't necessarily go over everything that you can do with it. It's more of just like, hey, look, here's a stock, let's go buy, and you hit buy or you hit sell. Pretty straightforward. Now there's some stuff in there to where like you can look into some of the options, you can look into what some of those will mean, and then some of the analysis is with it, but it's very still robust and just it's easier, and it helps people get into, say, trading or stock market or whatever. So that's why I kind of use Webull here as far as this goes. I haven't been too happy with transferring money back and forth. It's taken a lot longer than they've said, so take that for what it is. But for me, viewing Webull has been by far the best. That doesn't want to do that on that screen. That's okay. So let's pull up like AMC, because that's a very popular meme stock one. So if we look at the screen here, you can see there's a lot going on. If you don't necessarily know the ins and outs, it's confusing, and you're like, what the heck is all these numbers popping up, right? And on Robinhood, a lot of the times you're going to see the bid and you're going to see the ask here. And so the bids, this is the price that people, of course, are willing to pay for. And then, of course, this is the lowest when you sell. So like with Robinhood, for example, when you're wanting to buy, say, AMC, you're going to be seeing that price is typically higher than this price, because, again, someone wants to sell at, they still want to make some kind of profit, right? So you're going to buy at a higher price. You're buying this ask price. And then, of course, when you're selling for a lower price. You're selling for the bid price here, because, again, that's the most that someone is willing to pay for it. Now, of course, you can put the limit for those ask prices and say, this is what I'm willing to sell, but you have to have those buyers that are saying, okay, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. Or market buys. Market buys, a lot of people do that, where they're not putting in limits, they're just buying. Like, okay, hey, I see AMC going up, I want to put $1,000 in. So I put $1,000 in and I hit buy. That buys it at a market price, and that's going to be eating up a lot of what you see here. And so that's why if you see that 1% difference, and typically Robinhood does the 1% for like cryptos, because that's a way for them to make money. Now they say that there are no fees, but that is one of the things that they do. It isn't necessarily a fee, but it is kind of a commission. Loopholes. And then yeah, they let you borrow up 1,000 after you start your transfer. So yeah, so that's one thing as far as the difference between accounts goes, and I'll get into that in a second here. But that's what you're seeing. So the more, and with the order books too, you can see if I look back here, right, you can see the prices. The green is up more. People are having more buying power back here, and you have less selling power over here as far as and at the price marks too with it. So a lot of the times what you're seeing, and then especially with these 100 and 300, 400, 5, you see just very even numbers. A lot of that is by the computer. And so with this day and age, you can buy and sell one stock like millions and millions of times. And so that's what the computer does: buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. So it's manipulating. Technically, they're allowed to do that, but that's what is happening. And so when the stock is fluctuating as much as it is, and you're seeing this, and you're like, holy crap, who's buying 100 shares and then a split second later selling it? That's why. And so AMC, there's a lot more meme stuff behind that. Same thing with GameStop, that I won't go into a whole lot, but that's basically why they're saying, hey, these hedge companies, they're doing stuff that we shouldn't be seeing, and that it's really screwy. And so therefore, by them doing this, it's actually bringing the price of the stock lower, or they're doing who knows what behind the scene. Again, not going to really get into all that stuff. This is just a fresh beginner kind of course thing. So in Webull, what I like is this little kind of gray area that you see. This is the pre-market. Well, pre-market's like right around here, and then this is aftermarket from the day before. So the nice part with that is that you can kind of see some of the price actions. So in Webull, I have a couple of screeners here. So I've got like a pre-market float screener, and then I have a little price screener. This is one that I'm looking at, or this is the one that I look at before the market opens, and this is the one that is constantly changing. So then what I'll do is I'll click at what the percentage is changed, the highest, and then I'll say click on BioLife, for example. Now, with my screeners here, actually, I didn't do it because that is, let's go back to a lower price. There we go. So I look at stocks that are under $10. That's what I look at. Personally, people have different various ways of playing the stock market, but this is what I've found has worked for me. So if we look at 80 techs, for example, right here, when I'm looking at the pre-market, I'm trying to find this movement right here. The green candles you'll hear of people talking about. You'll also see volume. And so up here, let's see if I can hold on with the mouse. There you go, kind of. You can see that it shows volume. I need to figure out how to do my screen better. But it says, like, for example, 23,000 right there is the volume. Sell 64,000. Or sorry, the volume was 64,000, but it was in the negative, and then again positive, negative, and so on. These lines right here, ignore the lines for now. That's more in depth. But basically, I'm trying to catch this movement in the pre-market. So right here, nothing was happening with the stock. It's at $1.98. And then all of a sudden, you start to see movement. Well, this kind of movement that I start to see, that's when I know, hey, maybe I should buy the stock. So then stock market opens. This is 7:30 my time, Mountain Time, or 9:30 for Eastern when it opens. And then you immediately see some sales. And so it's hard because at that point you could be like, depending on how big the candles are and how much volume, like you can see right here, all of a sudden 2 million was traded, 2.8. Like that's going to be a determined factor for me of if there's that much volume and it's going negative, but it's trying to shoot upwards. a quick glance, I need to look into this more. I need to research more. So then that's where then you can look at like the MACD, you can look at the volume analysis and the order books and so on, and you kind of get a better idea for trading. But again, Robinhood doesn't really go into a lot of the stuff. All you're seeing is you're going to see like a line. That's it. And so that's what I try to capture. When I capture something like that, then I can say, okay, if I'm buying, and in Webull I'm buying in pre-market, or I can. And so I could have bought, as I'm seeing this, I could buy here, and then I could put a stop order or for a stop loss, or just a price to sell at. Obviously, this is a stock I didn't buy. This is just again for teaching or live right now. But you can see, had we bought down here at the 196, sure, this would have made a huge profit. But even if we caught it up anywhere up here, we're still potentially made $1 profit. That's what you kind of start to look for. You start to look for these trends. You can look at the same thing here. You can see at the volume, and then of course this is at 1 minute intervals. You can change this to 5 minute intervals, to 30-minute intervals, to an hour. So therefore I can start looking, this is the previous day, previous day, previous day. So if we look at ADXT, for example, in previous days, like if I do it by an hour, you can see there's hardly much movement. So this right here, it looks like, yeah, this is the highest that it's been for probably a week or so. Actually, it looks like it was up a little bit higher, more, on a couple of days. Again, that's going to be more research, more in depth, and then you're going to say, okay, is this a good price? Was this worth buying into, or am I buying it like on the TCAP, for example, to where if I'm looking at for an hour, was it TCAT? That's where it was, where we saw there's a downward trend. I swear I was looking at that same one. It might have been a different one as it was pumping around. It seems to all be kind of an up, but you get the point. You kind of, if you're looking at the previous week and you see it as a downward trend, even though it's spiked up today, maybe it's a quick entry. You buy in, you buy out, and sell out, and that's it. But you have to be careful with those too. So that's where more, again, researchers you're gonna need to play into it. Again, without getting into too much of the technicals. But yeah, there's a lot that this can do. And so this is, again, kind of a good just idea or look over what I do every morning. Now, if I look at, so let me do this screen. Let's see if we can't. Source. Now we're going to look at a couple of differences from, like, say, Robinhood. No, we don't want that one. Delete that. That's the display. That's okay. We can show the display here for a second. So here is Doge, for example. Now, if you were to, yes, you can see my face. If you're looking at this when this is on Robinhood, right? I look at a few different things. Again, here's your week view, so you can kind of see it was on a downward trend right here from this week. But you also have to look at it as where it's standing from for the month. Like Doge is doing really well from where it was a month ago. Even at the beginning of this month, like at 20 cents, like it's doing okay. But there's a lot more, obviously, that you have to look into and again research. So do that. But if you're looking at just like with the day, the biggest things that you want to find, of course, are the dips, obviously, so that we can buy low, sell high. And that's hard to do because we don't necessarily know where the next dip is going to be. But I can kind of see on a trend here with these that 285, there is another dip right here. another dip right there, 281. The lowest at 281. Down here, 279. And even right here was 280. So anywhere between 279 and I would say like 285, somewhere in that range, is going to be a good range going for the rest of the day to potentially put in a buy order. And then at the 289 or 290, of course, that's going to be where my sell is going to be. That's just kind of overlooking it from a day perspective. If we're looking at a live perspective, you can see it's not, over the last hour, it hasn't changed a whole lot. So if you're buying here, it's going to do 1% and it's going to buy higher, right? Same thing for when you sell, it's going to be a little bit lower because people aren't going to want to buy at that high price. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to find where this gap is. You're saying if I want to sell here at 288, that it's going to really sell about here in between. And hopefully when I bought down here, it's going to give me a little bit of a profit. This is very small margin with Doge right now. So when you see stuff like that, it's hard because unless you're constantly on it, you're not, like, if you have a day job, you're not making much money because you're not constantly going to be looking at it. And so you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm up 30 cents for the day. Whereas someone who's been watching it all day and buy and sell, they could potentially be up dollars because they're doing that. But again, that's going to be more time consumption. So that's where you can say, like, okay, well, is Doge really worth it? Maybe I just buy down here and then I just wait till it gets back up to its all-time high and just leave it. Kind of up to you and how you want to do it, but that's where that's kind of what you have to look at. So that's why I always go to the other cryptos to really kind of engage, are they following the same trend? And if they are, okay, so that definitely is classic. Bitcoin right here has jumped back up. Okay, Bitcoin is kind of king at the moment, even though they're all different, but Bitcoin has been kind of like a standard. Maybe I need to kind of watch to see where Bitcoin is going. If Bitcoin starts to go up more, okay, maybe the dip isn't going to be as drastic on Doge or Ethereum as I would hope it to be. So it might not be worth even getting into any of those. And it might be better getting into Ethereum or Ethereum Classic. It's kind of up to you on how you want to decide to do that, but that's kind of what you're looking at on a brief perspective of, like, say, Robinhood. Because the crappy part about Robinhood is when you're looking at, like, the live, for example, you're not seeing volume. You don't know what this is. You have no idea. So that's the crappy part. Whereas on Webull, if I was to switch over, I can kind of get a little bit better idea of these candles. Not necessarily a strict line. So now I can kind of start to watch, but I still don't know the volume. No idea. Even when I click on more here, it just shows the previous close, the 52-week high, 52-week low. That's it. It's not showing anything else. So that is why I use Coinbase and Reddit. Or not Reddit, sorry, Bitmart. So let me put those in here. Okay, let's turn that back on. So this is Coinbase. Coinbase is free to sign up. Now with Coinbase, and it does have a really nice app on the phone, an iPad for it, or iPad not so much. It's more of a phone app. iPad, it's like smaller screen, kind of dumb. So you've got your home. You can kind of look at, the different assets that you have, and that you can see this in my watch list that I constantly look at. They have cool little learning things to where, like, say with Fetch, if I did it, which I did, I got $3 here for learning and understanding what that FET token was. And then of course I transferred out of that because I don't really care for FET. But the cool part is that they give little things like that to where you can earn some free money, which is nice. When you first transfer into Coinbase, so this is the thing with Coinbase. So let's say I was to put in $1,000 into Coinbase. You send that, you transfer that from your bank, all is good. Now that's going to be as US dollars in Coinbase. When you transfer here to US dollar coin, it has a fee. And same thing if you transfer into anything else here, it also has fees. You're looking at like $2.99 to $3.99 depending on the fee. That's the crappy part. Robinhood, no fees. Here you have fees. And most other places you do have fees. But it's the one fee from, and it doesn't matter how much you're transferring, if it's $1,000, if it's $5, it's a flat fee. So let's say you were to transfer into US dollar or a US dollar coin. Now US dollar coin, the value is the same as a US dollar. But if you were to transfer from US dollar coin to say Doge, it does a fee. So typically you wouldn't want to do that. You would want to just transfer it straight into say Doge or Bitcoin or Ethereum, however you want to do it. Your one-time purchases, or you can do like daily, weekly, recurring, have it go off. You can custom pay with wherever. Same thing with here's your selling. But when you converting is free. So if I convert from Bitcoin to Ethereum, there's no fee. That is free. So that's really nice. So you just pay the one-time fee to say Doge. Doge goes up, it starts to go down. Well, then convert it to something else. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult if a lot of cryptos are going down. It's like, okay, well, what do I convert it to? Maybe you have, and that's where then you have to get kind of creative, try to find one to where you can be like, I have no idea what this is, but maybe I convert it into it. And so therefore I save some money that way, because then I can convert back. If you're trying to get around the fee aspect, or you can just sell it, leave it on US dollar coin, and it's not going to go up or down. As far as based off of like what crypto is doing, you do get bonuses and things by holding into it. That's separate. That's other fun, cool things that you can do. You have everything here: education, get more cryptos, whatever you can understand. I send you a link, you can get $10 in Bitcoin. I get $10. It's lots of different things that you can do. Here's some more of the learning things that I did. I got $4 from the graph, $3 from AMP. But anyways, we want to learn about the trading. So let's go here. So this, if we're looking at Doge, for example, you can see this doesn't show quite the same amount as Webull does as far as the decimals. But so it kind of rounds it up. So you don't necessarily know if it's at 0.005 or 0.006 or whatever it is. You just see it as 29 cents. So that makes it a little bit more difficult in that sense with Coinbase, but it also still simplifies it. You can see trading activity, volume. This is getting a little bit closer. 3.1 billion Dogecoins. I've gone in and out in 24 hours. That's nice. And it includes, like it says here, all exchanges, not just Coinbase. Circulating supply, 131 billion Doges in and out. How far you can get without ever transferring money from your bank. You could probably, if you were on top of it, you could probably get pretty far with just a few bucks. You probably could, because you would just buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. But you would be spending so much time. Like, is that time worth it? Maybe at the beginning you're wasting more time. Maybe down the road you're doing less. I don't know. The one nice thing here that I like is it does go, like I said, it goes into a little bit more detail, easier to read articles or anything like that right up front. It also shows price correlations with, so you can see with Doge, it moves kind of with the scenario, UMA, 1-inch, Ethereum Classic, and there's Shiba, right? No relationship here, Clover. So you can see with some of these different cryptos and what it moves with as it's fluctuating. So if you start to see Doge go up, you're probably going to start to see these start to go up too. So as you're buying into things, you could potentially be buying into Doge and buying into these because it's going to go up. And so then Doge goes up, it starts to sell, you sell, these are closely following behind. You can get the tail ends, buy and sell, buy and sell. Play around with it, but it's kind of nice, at least to look at. So I like Coinbase. You do get a card with Coinbase. I signed up. I don't know what that process is now. I signed up forever ago and I got approved for it, and that was awesome. It's not a credit card. It's just it links to Coinbase. It acts as a debit card. So you can, when you're paying for things right here, and of course I can send and receive to addresses, to wallets, and so on here. I'm paying with US dollar coin right now with the coin. But then I'll change this to, when I hit my manage card, I can actually change this to different cryptos. So I can actually then pay it with this crypto if I want to. And I can go through the rest of my assets if I want to. I'm not going to because this is my account, but this is just something that was brief to show. So if I wanted to, I could switch to that. And then I can go to a gas station and spend $3.66 at a gas station with crypto. I'm not paying any fees for that. I'm literally spending my money for it, which is nice. And then when I make purchases, I get 4% back. And I get to choose what I want to put it back into. So I could choose percentage back into Doge, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Graph, or in this case, XLM. XLM I find is the better rewards for me and what I spend it for. So that is kind of nice. I don't know what this one was. That was kind of a weird transaction. But anyways, so that's what the cool thing about with the card is it is a Visa and it's a debit card. So you can use it at Costco. You can use it at other places that accept Visa. And you can change it to whatever. This will always show up here if you're using the US dollar coins. I don't know why. It's really kind of annoying. But if I use it as crypto, it doesn't show up. It's weird. But yeah, so that's really nice. And of course you can withdraw. Yeah, so the merchant just sees it as US dollar cash. It converts automatically. So the merchant doesn't have to accept Bitcoin or accept any crypto whatsoever. This is just as if it was using cash for it. That's it. But it comes out of your crypto on your end. So it's almost like doing what's the best way of think of it as if like a gas station is not accepting, or they don't accept like francs, international money. But you have international money, so you need to be able to transfer it somehow to English money to then be able to transfer it to them. In a way, you're doing that. But doing it that way, if you're going to different countries, you're getting those fees taken out, and that dollar value, of course, can fluctuate. In this case, it's not doing that. So this is better in that sense. You just have to have a place that accepts Visa. It's kind of cool. That might be a little bit more confusing. Hopefully you get the point, though. You don't have to worry about it. Merchants don't have to worry about it. You're paying with cash or with crypto. They see it as cash. Done. Simple. So that's why I like the card. And because it's not a credit card, that's the other thing. If you have funds, great. It uses it. If you don't have funds, can't use it. Simple. And that way you're not having to worry about, like spending more Bitcoin than you might actually own Bitcoin. Because that would kind of suck. And then have to pay that back. So yeah, that's the nice part. And this is by no means to say, hey, go get Coinbase cards or anything like that. But I've liked it. I've enjoyed it. I do have the Robinhood card too, and I do like that. But that one's a MasterCard. Visa's a little bit more accepted, and I like it. Okay, so let's go back to like with Doge, for example. So here's the so that's Coinbase. Now Coinbase is a wallet and can hold things and hold your assets to it. Bitmart, you can transfer, because it's another market platform, but it's just crypto. Same thing with Coinbase, it's just crypto. Whereas like say with Webull, Robinhood, you have other stocks. So with Bitmart, you can transfer from Coinbase here. But when you transfer, a lot of cryptos, the way that the developers make money, aside from like buying and selling within cryptos and so on, is they have fees whenever those coins are being moved, there's fees for that, which help keep the lights on, understandably so. So if you were to transfer, if I was to trade Bitcoin, and if I was to, I don't have, well, I've got like very little Bitcoin, but if I was to transfer Bitcoin to Bitmart, when I was to go from wallet to wallet, that charges a fee to do that. So what I've found is there is a coin, find it, called Stellar Lumens, or XLM, and XLM doesn't have a fee to transfer. So I can transfer my XLM from Coinbase to Bitmart. And I typically, what I'll do is I'll make money from Bitmart, I'll transfer to Coinbase, I use the Coinbase card, or I transfer to a bank account. And there's a lot of different ways that you can go. That's where with Bitcoin or Bitmart, where you can see a lot more coins, altcoins, and things to buy. So like, you can see the normal here, right? You can see US dollar market, you can see Ethereum market, the DeFi market, the Polkadot market, the NFT market. And so then you can kind of go into more of like Shiba, Sol, AR, like tons and tons of different ones. If we look at Doge, right, because that's what we're wanting to see, you can look at it as a standard, simple and easy to use interface, or the advanced. I look at the advanced, I like that. If we start to look at here, you can see on the far left on this screen right here, it shows volume. So if we're looking at recent, volume was 224,362. Doge was moved right there. You don't see that on Webull. You don't see that on Robinhood. You don't see that on Coinbase, but you see it here. That's really nice because I can kind of gauge a little bit better of when I see these dips. Here's a big dip. That was 1 mil dip, 1.082. There's 1.4 purchases, 1.89 mil, and then 2.25 mil of more drop. And it's just a constant battle back and forth here. And then you can start to see some of these where that's like 600,000. No wonder why Dogecoin is not moving much right here. It's because of the volume, the buy and the sell. You see 622,000 there, 496,000, the difference of 170,000, 130,000, whatever the case may be. It's not going to move that coin much. Now you can kind of get a better idea of when to buy and when to sell. You can also see the timestamps here, which is kind of nice, and the amounts that people were selling at what prices. So Bitmart is also free. You can look at Bitmart without having an account, and you can just kind of look into the different markets and the spots. They also do futures and institutions, lots of other things that I won't get into. But this is where then if I wanted to, I could click on, let's say, a purchase price, and I could put in however much Doge I want to buy, however much money I want to put in, and I could buy it. And then I could also sell it. And then you can look at the fee rate, which is 25% here. Take that into account as far as when you're buying and selling. Doge, probably not the best. But I don't buy Doge from Bitmart. I do it from other platforms. What I do is I look at to see what the volume is for some of these other ones. So here is, in fact, actually, let's go back to this. Let's look at Baby Doge. Here's Baby Doge, because that's also a very popular one. So now you can kind of see what the price is. So now what I could do is I can say, okay, well, this is what people are asking for. Of course, this is what I'd have to buy it at, or somewhere in between. And let's just say that I wanted to buy like 5, so I'm spending like $7 there. If I was to sell that same amount, but sell it at that higher price, let's see, 5, is that the same amount? Looks like it's the same amount. With the fees, it looks like if we were to buy it at $7.17 here and we were to sell here, we would actually be losing 40 cents because of the fee rates. It's 10%. So probably not the best idea to buy and sell if I'm doing this close. Now if I was to buy here and let it sit and go up to just 15, see, it's still very little. So I don't typically do, like, say, baby doge because of that, unless it's really jumping. But if I look at, this is one that I like. Let's do this one. And I look to see where the volumes are. Volume is a big indicator because if I am not seeing a movement, like right here, there's no movement, and that's for a minute or 15 minutes each for those intervals. And if I switch even to the 1 minute intervals, you can see no one is buying or selling. So if I'm looking at this consistently or like all day, like this would be a headache to watch because there's hardly much movement. So it might not be the best to do that. This is one that I have bought. I've got like $8 in it. I've been playing around with purchase things. So now what I can do though is I can say, okay, I want to sell here, and I want to sell 100% of that, and it's $8.34. And just to give you an idea with this one of what I bought it at, I bought it at, I did this in preparation for the stream. Okay, so this is what I purchased it at just before the stream started because I wanted to kind of show what that would look like. So I bought it at 0.0397 cents. I bought 201.99 GSX for a total of $8.03. Fee rate 25 cents or 25%. So if I was to look at that, it's actually like 2 cents here. If I was to sell it here at the 413 mark, I'm making 34 cents or 31 cents. Take a couple of cents off for the fee, so I'm making 29 cents. Now, when you're looking at it like that, obviously this is like with $8, so that's not much money at all. But that obviously more volume, more money, more capital, you can start to see how those percentages start to add up and what you want to kind of look into. But the biggest thing here is just checking that volume. If I'm checking this volume and I am seeing within the last minute, no purchase, buy, none, like the volumes here is 0, and then all of a sudden there's a sell, 21,000, and then 0, 0. There's a couple purchases, 45,000, 33,000 as far as purchases goes. Again, I'm checking the volume that's over here in the corner as I'm mousing over. So that's going to be your indicators of, like, is there support? Is there a level? Or am I going to buy here and it's going to drop and it's going to screw me? But this was only 501. 501 sold, GSX was sold, and it dropped that price that much. Most likely because they bought a lot earlier and they made more money. And then, of course, 36,000 it took to then bring up back because, again, that right there, they probably made a lot of money off of. So those are some indicators, and the biggest one, again, that we kind of look at as we play around with Doge and Ethereum is right here. So right now, Doge is sitting at 288,714. Let's look at Webull. Let's see, what is Doge? 2893. You can see kind of an upward trend. Again, kind of small. This is at the minute intervals. Minute interval, there we go. We're still seeing 290, so it's lagged just a little bit behind, but that's okay. We're seeing 15,000 people right here bought. The next minute over, it's at 1.6 thousand. We're still on an upward trend. If you're looking at it, if we were to draw a line, you're seeing an upward trend here with this. So buying now, I don't know exactly where it's going to teeter out, but buying now, you're on that upward trend. If you want to sell relatively soon, because you want to buy, sell, might not be the best. Because again, you can see the high right here at 2.9, right? Up to you. I mean, what you'd want to do with it. But I don't know. I mean, we are on a dip right here. So I don't know if I would constantly buy and sell, buy and sell. If I was to buy right here, then I would kind of leave it for the day or leave for a good little bit. Let's see. Probably like at least another 15, 30 minutes before we'd see it passing that little crest. So that's kind of some of the things that I look at as far as crypto goes. I'm going jumping back and forth between Coinbase, Bitmart, Webull, Robinhood, and just kind of seeing where people are buying, looking at the trades going through. You can see some sales going through, 38,000 there. So yeah, probably was a good thing not to have bought immediately. It's good to kind of watch. Xantos, yeah, you prefer quick selling quick. It's true. And see, that's where like a lot of the day traders, that's their mentality. Is like they don't want to have money sit overnight, or sit for like a week, because who knows what's going to happen to the market. So having that liquidity is good. And I agree with that. Having cash is king. But there's also times too where like you just never know. And all of a sudden, like today, AMC jumped up. That would have been great. That'd been a $5 movement. So this is where the Bitmart is what I really do like, and Coinbase, bouncing back between the two, and really kind of determining like what I want to do with my money. This GSX, for example, I go back to it. I'm going to put here, I'm going to put at, because I don't really care as far as how much money goes. Again, I paid, what did I pay for it? I paid $3.97 for it. So 20 cents here. Okay, so let's put in a sell order for that. So order is placed now. There's the price for it. That's the date and time and stamp for it. You can see it immediately popping up right here at that 410. Someone else just put for lower. A lot of the times on Bitmart, you're going to see like computers where they're going to constantly try to bid lower than you. It's just the nature of it. It's kind of screwy. Sometimes I like to screw with them, and I'll buy and sell and purposely try to get these two numbers closer together just to see what will happen with it. It's kind of funny. Let's see right here, then I can cancel because whoever this person is, that was dumb. Okay, well then I'll just put it right back because they just canceled immediately. And then they might put it back. We'll see. Yep, see? There it goes. Most likely a computer. Now if I cancel, and if I do this as 408, and that, if that cancels and goes below, then you know it could potentially be a computer. Or it could be someone that's just watching it just like I am immediately. Yep, see? Boom. Popped right there. It's kind of funny. But I mean, yeah, that price difference right there from that $8.03 to $8.24. I mean, for essentially doing nothing and just kind of watching and looking, I made 20 cents just for doing nothing. Again, small dollar amount. You definitely want to try to go for higher, or as you put more money in, then all of a sudden that 20 cents then becomes, $1, $2, $10. It also becomes more risk too. You can see 408, so the 407 person canceled. We'll see if they actually go through, if it'll go through here. And the nice part, of course, people don't have to, excuse me, they don't have to buy the full 201. It can be partially filled. They could buy just 100 of it. You can buy one of it. Typically on Bitmart, they want you to spend at least $5 US, which is why I did it such at a low dollar amount here. It was just to kind of show. But the problem with the GSX right now is because, and if you look at that 1 minute, there's hardly any movement whatsoever. Again, if I'm wanting to buy and sell in and out quick, this is going to be a hard one to do. You can buy, you can list, but I mean, who knows? It could go, what was this? This was at 1507 to 1516, so that went 9 minutes without any movement, and then it dropped. Like, that part kind of sucks. So these ones I typically like. I like this one. I play on it often, but watching the volume here, this is where like I personally wouldn't be playing in and out all day long with this one. I would go to a different coin. After this, I would go to a different coin because I want to, again, be making money. It's going to be worth my time. But then the nice part is after with this money, I will buy back into XLM, transfer from here back to Coinbase, and then there you go. You hit your send receive, you see your wallet address, and you put that through. I'm not going to show any of that personal information with that, but that's what you would see. Yeah, very simple in that regards. It takes like maybe 5-10 minutes to set up if you were to set up all the accounts. Transferring, they say it can take up to 30 minutes or a few hours from Coinbase. I've honestly seen it within like a minute to Bitmart, and same thing back. Like it's pretty quick, but it can take up some time. No, these wallets are saved on their platforms. There are wallets out there that for hardware or that are hardware specific to where you can put it on your computer if you want, and that way it's more secure because then it's only accessed locally, whereas these are accessed on their trading platforms. And that's why Coinbase actually kind of comes out and says like you don't necessarily like need to do wallets on theirs or to try to keep some of that stuff because you just never know. And so that's kind of up to you as far as how you want to find your own wallet to where you could be transferring out of these platforms to hold and to save for years down the road if you want to, or months or however you want to do it. But personally, they're pretty encrypted, so I'm kind of trusting both of them. And yeah, the services do kind of manage some of that stuff, but we aren't paying anything from having a Bitmart account or a Coinbase account. You don't pay anything for just having an account. Now the fees, of course, like that 25 cents fees, most likely some of that is probably, or 25% rather, most likely some of that stuff is going towards those, but I'm okay with it. If I make, what, this is 21 cents that I'm making right here, and a cent or 2 cents is going to go to the company, so I make like 19 cents. I mean, it's as if I walked outside and picked up a nickel and dime for free. I'm okay with that. But again, and this is, you know, lower dollar amounts. So think of it like if you were to put $1,000 in, if you were to do that close, maybe that might not be worth it. So maybe you would want to have a little bit higher of a price range or price gap before you sold. So therefore, you give $2 or $3 back, and you're keeping $5 or $6. But again, like you're keeping $5 to $6. You're making money that you're not normally having to do much, really anything on, which is nice. So yeah, that's kind of what I look at. Again, without going into too much detail, or not detail, but too much like overload. This is very kind of simplistic views that anyone can pick up. Pretty simple, and you can find your own trading cues and ideas and so on. Indicators here, you can always go through. There's tons of indicators on Bitmart. Same thing with Coinbase and same thing with Webull. The biggest ones that I like is the MACD here. And so that way I'm watching to see when the lines are intersecting, and that kind of gives me indicators as far as buying and selling. With coins and altcoins, it's not as prevalent, whereas with here you can see Doge has gone up on that upward trend. If we were to bought right here, we would have bought a little bit higher. We would have been buying about here as far as the price range. Or actually, yeah, see, even if you buy right here, this is telling you the price is about 5 higher. So we would still not be making money yet if we were to buy down here. We would be barely in the green, and we would hope for this to go up even more, probably about here, before if we were to sell to actually make money. So that's as far as on Robinhood goes. Of course, through Webull and through other places like Bitmart here, if you're putting in your bids and your asks, it's just all hoping that someone's going to buy at that certain price or sell, and you might get lucky. AMC, let's see where AMC is at. $45.90. It's kind of hovering. If we look at through for the day, and how much is going on here, I would say AMC is probably going to end it's either going to end around here, but it's going to drop more and go up and have to try to recover, or it's most likely going to be around $42-ish by the end of the day. I hope I'm wrong. Hope it goes up more. We've had 132 million volume purchases and sales. It's a lot. Unless some bigger whales come in, though, like these green bars are not filled all the way. They're hammering it hard. I would say probably 42. That would be my guess. So I don't know if I would necessarily buy into AMC. You could buy. So there are a couple different tactics that people do. This is one that I need to get better at myself. But what you could do is, let's say you were here, right? You're seeing this. You can buy a call, buy options. That I can go into another video on. And then you're basically an option. You're betting that the price is going to go higher. Goes higher. When it's up here, you sell because it's going up. And then you turn around and say, okay, now I think it's going to go lower. And so therefore you're betting that it's dropping. And then of course when you're up here, people are like, no, it's still going up higher. So therefore you're going to buy those options for cheaper that are selling, or that are saying that it's going to go down, versus if you were to buy an option now to say that it's going to go down, it's going to be at a higher premium. So those are a few things. I'll go into options differently that way, but that's one path that you can do. You can play both sides of the fence, which is kind of trippy and fun to do. But yeah, if we look, let's go back to Doge. Yeah, see, and here's the downward trend. So buying right here, I definitely want to have done much if you're trying to do that in and out Xantos, where like you don't want to have it tied, because now where you would be at is you'd be stuck. You'd either be losing money or you'd be holding. You don't lose money until you sell, but you also don't make money until you sell. So that's where it's like, what do you do? But yeah, that goes over a few different things that I kind of look at on a consistent day-to-day basis. And the biggest reason why I personally like crypto is I can play crypto all day, not time constrained, whereas like normal stocks I am. So with crypto, I can be, out shopping and buy, sell, get the money, and all of a sudden I paid for our food or shopping. Things like that. Like that's the biggest reason why I like crypto a lot, is just because I can kind of sit here and do this. And we can see now, like with this has dropped a little bit. So now I might want to actually kind of cancel this. I'm still making money, right? As long as it's up above that. Put that in there. We'll see if that sells. Now, but we can try to get out quick. And then we can buy back in and do the same thing over and over again. And that is in essence of day trading. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. I don't really have much. Oh, yes. The mining stuff. I'll go over that real quick, and then we're going to wrap it up here. Then we'll be done. Here. And pop this in here. Okay. So I like nice hash. If you just type into Google, just type in before going into the platform there. All right, I might as well just go straight to into my dashboard, which is fine. Let's go back. Just type, not actually a website. So this is where you'd want to go. If you're wanting to download, or if you're wanting to Bitcoin mine, this is what you'd want to use. The other one, the miner, can do Ethereum. What kind of automated stuff you can build to make, I've been thinking about that lately too. A lot of the computers do that as far as automation goes, buying and selling. It would be really interesting to come up with something, because I can guarantee you, if you were to do something like that with there, you could let it run all day and it could just calculate the fees, everything, and just run. I don't know how legal that is, so no financial advice, nothing in that sense, but teach his own. So nice hash. If you go to the download center with it, the applications, you get the miner here, quick miner. And this is for depending on which graphic cards that you're using. AMD, NVIDIA just supports NVIDIA cards and Flash Tool and whatnot. It looks like, let's see if I window capture, add a new source. That's the .exe one. I do not see my nice hash. Is that it? Nope. Yeah. This right here, this is what was posted in the Discord. The miner monitoring. Turn that off. So this right here, if I was to start it, so we hit start mining, and then you go through the Ethereum, Ravencoin, some other coin. You can go to a wallet. You can name your address, your rig. The wallet address is where you would want to send, where you're sending it to. And so, like for me, I'm sending it to Coinbase, but you can send it to this Ether wallet or wherever other wallet that you have. Then it goes to your dashboard. It's very, very basic as far as the the monitoring goes. This is the one that Xantos you put in and looked at. You can hit start mining. It shows your farms, but it doesn't really go into much more detail unless you were to hit, where is it? Subscription. So if you try to get premium, then you can buy it at certain prices. You can say one miner, that's all we really need. The country, United States, and it's going to tell you that it's $2.50 for just a 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, $24 for a year, and then it will start to tell you more detail. So I'm not sure how I feel about it quite yet, but this right here is wood farm for whatchamacallit. Let's see. We don't Ethereum. It's this one. So this is what it actually looks like. And if you just hit start, that's all you have to do, and you walk away. Simple, right? As far as mining goes. Now, typically though, because with this, so I'm going to hit stop here and close this. It has to hit a certain percentage in order for it to pay out. So this is why, like, I'm not quite sure about this yet, but I wanted to at least pull it up so you can kind of get a look at it. This will tell you like how much revenue, the hash rates, temperature, power that it's all using, and so on. But that's about it. If I look at the Bitcoin miner though, and I look at my rig with it, this will tell you me my temperature, the load, the memory, the fan, and again, sort of a little bit more detail there with it. But if I go to history and stats, this will actually tell me as I'm mining throughout the day, like where I'm at, how high, my payouts, everything. this here is telling me my last mining payout. So the last time it paid out to me was on the 23rd of August, because that was the last time that I really ran it. I haven't ran this for a few days, and it was 61 cents in euro for it. And then it pays to my wallet balance here in total. So you can see my total wallet balance at the moment is $8. And that's how much Bitcoin I have. Now, and this pays out about every 4 hours. This will just automatically count down. Even though it's not running, it's not going to pay me anything, but that's the countdown. And then if I was to send this, exchanging without going into like the personal wallet address and details, this right here needs to be 5, right here, 0.0005 in order to pay out. And that right there will then equate to, actually, let's see if we can click on it. Will it tell? It's got my email. You can have my email. I don't care. If I was to use the max, which I can't do, I have to do 0.005. It's total amount. There's no network fee for one time per day or one withdrawal a day. It'd be about $20 euros, give or take. Because again, that the value of what you're getting is going to be based off of the value of Bitcoin at that moment. So I'm still getting the same amount of Bitcoin, but Bitcoin, if it goes up to $70,000, it's going to be a lot more money versus, say, $20,000. But again, I still have the same amount of Bitcoin. So that's why I like NiceHash, is because of this. I get to see more. I can click on markets. You can do more with it. You can kind of go through Ethereum, Bitcoin, trading. It has its own platform and coins with it. I don't mess around with it at all because I just care for the mining, sending it to this sends to my Coinbase, and then from Coinbase, then I can do whatever I want with it. And with the card, I can then go to the gas station. I've only I've been playing around with this for about a month and a half or so, so I haven't played around too much, but I've already had one payout of $20, which was kind of nice. And we'll continue to see as it goes throughout the year. But yeah, that is the NiceHash. That's the miner monitoring. There's other things that you can find out there. Almost any gamer or anyone that's watching that is in the Discord, your video cards can handle these. Super simple, easy, quick access for it. I would not run NiceHash while playing any game. It's pretty intensive. Miner, you can run like, say, Hearthstone, Magic, card games, things like that. And you're still fine. You can search and browse and do whatever you want with it. If you were doing it on your gaming PC, this I would not game and have going at the same time. You can read up reviews and people do like pies, or they'll like set up a rig, and then that entire rig is literally just 5 video cards going. It will burn the life expectancy down more. So instead of replacing your video card once every 4 or 5 years, you're probably replacing it every few years. But again, the dollar amount and what you're getting back, you just have to kind of play around with that. I would say personally, the dollar amount from making, if I was just doing Bitcoin with one, probably wouldn't pay for a brand new video card. But if I was to turn that money on Coinbase, throwing into Bitmart, or throwing it more into other coins, that is where then you make your money worth out of it. If you're just doing it like this, like, it's not worth it. Letting your money sit, like, if you think about those people that bought Bitcoin on day one, dirt cheap. Why are you still holding on to your Bitcoin though? It hit 60, 70,000 earlier this year. Why did you not sell then? Unless it was staked, then you couldn't. That's a, like, if you're basically like putting it in bonds or whatever to where you agree you're not going to sell, then okay, I get that. But if you didn't, why did you not sell then? It's the same thing with like AMC here. People are holding out for AMC, thinking that AMC is going to get to $100 or 5,000 or 500K. It's like, why? I could sell here, dips, buy. I now have more capital because I've sold here, buy down here, sell again, and just continue to do that. Like, you make more money. So if you're mining, if you decide to do the mining, that is what I would do. This mining right here, it's like $1.60 for my revenue with it. That's not much. But I put that $1.60 over here, and I make 20 to 30 cents off of that $1.60. Now I've turned free $1.60 to $2 to $5 to whatever down the road. Like, that is what the trading is about. Do not sit and hold. That's not financial advice. That's what works for me and what I think personally is better. Personally. Yeah, Xantos, your video card's 5 years old. See, so if you were to run it, burn that card. You gotta replace it anyways. Yeah, and like someone saying he'll never sell his Doge, like why? Like, I don't understand it. At the high of 70 cents, you make millions of dollars if you bought in at the beginning, like that guy. And then you've made now millions of dollars to where then when it dips, you buy again and you sell again. And you continue to do that. Now your couple $1,000,000 is now $5 million. Like, it doesn't make sense. So throughout all this that I've gone over with like the mining and like with Bitmart, for me personally, buying and selling and making 30 to 40 cents off each transaction, building upon that, buying and throwing money into more coins and doing it again works. Not for everyone, I get that, but it works for me. And that's where then I would say I would just keep your cash close. Especially because everyone's talking about how there's going to be corrections and all this other stuff that's going on, and it's like, you never know. Oh, the thing that you talked about earlier, Xantos, the $1,000. So, and then I'll end it here, because I'm kind of hungry. With Robinhood, if you're doing Robinhood, whenever when you transfer $1,000 in, you get an instant $1,000 upfront borrowed money, right? It's because it's a margin account. That's how margin accounts work. That's the same thing with Ameritrade. That's the same thing with Webull. That's the same thing with Fidelity, E-Trade, any margin account. What that does, or what that means with with that $1,000, is that you can now start to buy and sell, and margin accounts are day trade restricted, meaning that you can only do that 3 times out of a 5 business day period. So if I was to day trade today, so here's the calendar, I would have to wait until next Wednesday before this day trade ended today, or if I bought and sold. And then, but if I buy and sell today, like say AMC, and then I do that tomorrow, and then I do that Friday, there's 3 day trades. 1, 2, 3. Next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they become open. So, if you were to do a day trade today with AMC, because you saw that $5 gap, right? If we look back, here's 45. So let's say we buy, and let's say it goes to $48. You sell. There's a day trade. You get your money, but that day trade does not become available again until next week. Now, withdrawing that money, you cannot withdraw it today because it's a margin. You have to wait for it to settle, which takes a couple of days. My fiance ran into that, which is fine. You just let it sit there. But no, that wasn't it.
What?
It was a day.
What?
When you bought and sold margin.
Huh?
She doesn't know where. She just says no because she said no. It's okay. Yeah, and so yeah, if you were to Xantos, because I think you bought AMC yesterday and sold when I mentioned it, right? So if you go to withdraw right now to your bank account, you can't withdraw the full amount because of it.
It takes like a week.
And so it's settled. Yeah, it has to settle, or like it takes a week or something like that. It takes a while, which sucks. With Webull, it's like the same thing. And I've been waiting for money from Webull for like a few weeks now. It's been kind of annoying. But Webull does this thing where unsettled and settled cash. So if you're doing a cash account, it's a little bit different. If I have settled cash, so that $1,000 hit my account, it's sitting here, I can buy today and I can sell today. And let's say I use that full amount. Now, if I bought and sold today with that $1,000, then in 2 business days, that cash settles. So I could technically buy and sell today, say AMC. I could buy again AMC today, but because the money hasn't settled from the first transaction, I have to wait 2 days for it to settle to then sell AMC without getting a violation. But of course, 2 days goes by, who knows where AMC is going to hit. So that's a risk. So you probably wouldn't want to do that with AMC being like a meme stock or just really any kind of stock with high volatility. So that's the difference between like cash and margin. If you settle it, the one nice thing is let's say that $1,000 that you had, you could use $200 of that to buy and sell AMC. Then you can do another $200 to do the same thing today, and then do it again, and do it again, and do it again, because you've got $1,000 that you had originally settled. So you can do that 5 times today. So I could have unlimited day trades today with settled cash. That's the 5 times there. So a lot of day traders on not just Webull but any other platform, that's what they do. Up until you hit a $25,000 mark. $25,000, this is by SEC, so this is not like a platform restriction. This is just across the board. If you're under $25,000, that's what you're going to get. But with $25,000, even with margin accounts, with like say Robinhood, for example, you would be able to day trade as much as you wanted during that day, as long as the previous day ended at $25,000 or more. So if yesterday you ended at $25,000, you can day trade unlimited today. But let's say you lost money today and you're at 24,000, you could not day trade tomorrow unlimited amount of times, because tomorrow it's going to go back off of today, which was 24,000. So then tomorrow you basically would get up to the 25,000 mark, wait till the next day, and then now you're on unlimited day trades and you do it again. So that's kind of if you're thinking of like trading, and if this is something that you truly want like eventually down the road get to, I know like right now maybe not so much, and this is just more for play money or fun money, but down the road I would say as a goal, like my goal is to hit that 25,000. I haven't hit that mark yet, but as soon as I hit that mark, that day trading, then I will be able to really just shoot off with it. And that's kind of in my mind a mindset of like, yes, this is what I want to go for. Because then I could do this, buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here, and be making, it's a 30-cent difference, but I'm making money, right? And it's a constant. I can do it all day long. And that's where like I jumped to Webull, and I started trying to do more stock stuff from crypto, because that's where I wanted to build up to, and I kind of hit a wall. So I'm going back to crypto to get to that $25,000 mark. So we're going to be crypto buddies, Xantos, until we both hit that $25,000 mark, and then we'll take our trading level to the next stage. Until then, we're sticking with crypto. I've had more success. See, like, look, that 4001 with Bitmart, it sold while we're just sitting here talking. It sold. So now, if I wanted to, I'm going to put in this order. I'm going to say for 392, actually, I'm going to do 3, just do one up above that person. I'm going to hit buy there. So that way, hopefully that goes through. And then if I put that here, and then if I do the same thing again, 401, then I'll make some money. Let's see. Actually, maybe we need to refresh that, because that seems like the same amount. Let's cancel that. Yeah, and then oh, that's right, we didn't make much money because we did 401 there, right? And we had made like 10 cents off of it. So if we look at the order history, I sold, yeah, I made 2 cents. See, so that's why if I'm buying it, I made like no money off of that exchange, but that was just for the show for the stream. So I'm not worried about it making 2 cents, 2 cents. But yeah, 1/25 of that. See, so yeah, that'll be our goal. That's our dream is to get to that 25,000 mark. Um, Now here's there's a two places that I like to or three places that I like to research. I'm definitely ending it here. Twitter, really nice. Stock twits and Reddit. These three I do a lot of research on, and then of course I will just go straight into. There's also Fin. What is it? Fintiz. This one. And FinTwit, which there's a lot of talk and stuff. There's a lot of different places that you can go to and research. You can even just pop in $AMC. Here's different stories. Yahoo, what's the latest finance? You can go to, you can start to see some more picks, what people are saying. There's a lot of places to research. For me, I find that these three places, the stock twits, Twitter, and Reddit work. I don't do a whole lot on Reddit as much. It's more of just kind of like I see what other people are doing, but I don't really go into too much. But Twitter, so like if we were to do $AMC, and we say latest, you're going to start to see people posting a bunch of different stuff. And of course you get ads, graphic photos from the studio, who cares? So then you get a bunch of different people saying whatever they want with that symbol, right? Who wants to get into it, personal input, blah, blah, blah. So you just have to go through. There's a lot of clutter, a lot of crap when you're dealing with like a meme stock like that. Same thing if I do Doge. If I look at Doge, you're going to see a bunch of people that are going to kind of post on like different codes, community, NFTs, unusual volume spikes, 13 times the average, crypto, check out the latest. You're going to see tons of different things like that. You just have to kind of filter through, and then you're going to start to see, okay, where are people that are making sense versus those that aren't making sense, and is it something that I care for? I'm going to follow that actually. I have this message group here. This guy, Jay, does really, really good call outs. And he does it for anything, but in this group, we really talk about almost anything and everything. Day trades, this is someone that I recommend following, and then go and follow off a bunch of other people there. But he will post off so much of like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I've sold out. This is where I'm buying. Here's some halt stuff. Like, he almost had 1,800 or 180% on Sava calls. Like, you just have to start to go through his history, and you start to see some of the things of where he's buying and selling. People like this are people that you're going to want to follow if you're on Twitter, because they're going to kind of it's going to give you an insight of what they're doing. Now, they might be seconds off, minutes off, and there are going to be people out there that are just going to do pump and dumps. So you have to be careful. This is one of the more real people that I've met. But and essentially, like right here, he said he's taking the 49 out 44 entry. This is for an option, and he's swing trading this, and then he'll add dips as far as potential stocks and whatnot. And PFE, that's Pfizer. So this is something to where then you would do more research on what's going on with Pfizer. Okay, is this a stock that I am interested in purchasing long term or short term? But these are the types of people that you're going to want to start to look into more as you're doing stocks, to say, this is what they're doing. What are they seeing that I'm not seeing? What do I need to do to be able to start to see what they're seeing? And then you can start to use the tools from Webull or from wherever else to really start to understand what all these indicators mean. There are hundreds of indicators. Pick just a couple. That's all you need. Find what works for you and go from there. Hey, look, 44.80 AMC still going down. It's going to hit 42. Maybe lower today. I think it'll hover around 42, personally. And then with stock twits, the nice part about this is that you can just type in whatever symbol. So I'm going to type in Doge. And then people just like moving up. They just, whatever that they want to post in here. It's, again, you're filtering a lot of crap, a lot of junk. But then you start to try to find those gems, find those people. What are they posting? What are they talking about? Like with this, people are just posting Doge just to pump up Doge. That's it. Okay, so why would I want to buy into Doge then right now? I'm going to probably look elsewhere or to figure it out more in-depth research. But if we were to look at, like, say, Go Health here, you start to see a little bit of the trends, and then you say, okay, what are some people are saying about this? What is this something that I've missed? Is this a sleeper? And where's it going from here? And then we start to say, okay, hey, they say it's smart money. We think we can close above 5. Well, why do we think we can close above 5? Okay, now let's start to go look at what is GoCo. And let's look at the reports, the finance reports. Let's start to look at to see what their net revenue is, if it's increased. Where's their debt to income ratio? And then we also want to then see, you know, is there bad PRs? Is there good PRs? Is it just a stunt? A lot more will go into it. You spend a lot of time kind of researching. This is why I'm now going back to crypto, because if I had the 25,000 in there, sure, I would start investing and putting things in longer term and letting those returns hit back. I'm not really looking into getting into that right now because, again, of where my account is at. But this is where, you know, you start to take it to the next steps or the next levels of getting financial freedom, really. Yeah, that is it. That's all I have. And yeah, I know it's kind of overview. Xantos, you're a smart guy, so I know you probably understand a little bit, and it probably makes more sense. I don't know about anyone else there, if anyone else has questions or if it was even helpful. That's just kind of, like I said, it's a broad view, and it's from my view, which could be wrong, but that's my view of where things are at. Yeah, see with this, I'm not even gonna buy GSX. Look at this. There's like no movement here. No movement. It got stuck right there. So that's where I'm gonna go look somewhere else. But hopefully that helps. I'm glad you understand it a little bit more. And anyone else that goes back and reviews and looks into this stuff, if you've got questions, like we can go into more details of like options. We can go into more details about anything else. But yeah, the biggest thing that I really like, if I was to drive anything home, I love Bitmart and I love Coinbase to transfer with XLM to where you get that money and then you could just throw that into Robinhood and throw that into Webull or whatever, and you just that is a nice ecosystem, if that makes sense. But yeah, so if there are questions though, feel free to reach out. Put it more in the Discord. I'm gonna end it here though, and yeah, I'll be happy to research and look up. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. We're gonna go get some food.